I want to talk about this guy for a little bit. Maybe not necessarily Jason specifically, but the franchise in which he represents. What's up, creepers and geekers? Chris the Atari Creep. How's everyone doing today? Wow, that was weird. I got this weird lump in my throat. I hope everyone had a wonderful and safe holiday season, as well as the new year. It's 2025, and I have a feeling this is going to be your year, so I want you to fucking make it happen, alright? I know I'm going to make it happen. You need to make it happen as well. First video of the year. I want to talk about this before I lose it. And it's not so much that I want to write a script or anything. What the hell do I know about writing scripts? Nor am I really good at coming up with full-fledged ideas. I'm good at brainstorming. I'm good at coming up with concepts. But when it comes to the full package, you know, and it's something like this. We're going to be talking about a movie trilogy, you know. This isn't supposed to be as serious as that. This is just, I was doing dishes. I was in prayer and meditation last night. Went overhead a glowing bright light. What song is that? You tell me in the comments below. I was doing dishes, and I don't remember. Maybe it was a song. Something sparked the idea of what would I do with a Friday the 13th trilogy. Friday the 13th for the past handful of years has been, it's been in turmoil. It's been in litigation as to the rights of who, what, where, whens, and hows. And it's been tough. Us Jason fans haven't really had much to nibble on, you know? I mean, there are talks of a TV show from, what is it, A21 for the Peacock services. That's another nightmare we'll get into someday. I hate subscription services. How stupid is it that we fell for it, right? Maybe it was the idea that the game Friday the 13th from, was it Gun Media and all that, no longer technically exists anymore. I mean, you can hold the package, but the servers are down, and all you could do is a single player thing, which I don't remember it really being much at all. But that's not the point. The point is we don't have any Friday the 13th right now that we can sink our teeth into. Michael Myers got their foray. There's talks of a Nightmare on Elm Street stuff coming out. And we've had plenty of Texas Chainsaw junk. So we need Friday the 13th in our lives. I need Friday the 13th in my life, and I need more of it. And notice how I'm not saying Jason Voorhees. So I'm sitting there and doing dishes, and this idea came. I actually recorded it. 2 videos. And maybe at the end of this I'll put them so you can see where my brain was in the moment. But you're not going to get any new information from it. So the trilogy is actually really simple. Really simple. We're going to stick with the mythos. You know, the young man drowning, the mom taking revenge. You know, and then the young man either rising. In my case, he never truly died. And we'll get to that here in a minute. And taking revenge. But we're also going to add in one more element. So let me start with movie number 1. And it starts off with, you know, I'd say a good probably 15 minutes should be developed into Jason getting to the point where he's either pushed into the water or, you know, whatever the kids do to fuck with him, to get him into the water to where he drowns. That's what we need to do. And how I'm looking at it is he's on a bridge. He's on a bridge. And he either gets pushed over by accident or he's trying to get away. You know, whatever. It's a complete accident. But of course the kids in typical movie form don't, like, this is, you know, they don't make a pact or anything. That would be stupid. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. They just wouldn't tell anybody. And then there would be like a search for this kid named Jason. And they can't find him. And they can't find him. So then we go on a year later, and the camp starts having its problems, you know. Remember in the movie how they were like, yeah, first the water was poisoned, and there was a bunch of fires. Let's put all that in there. Let's put all that in there. Let's use that for the suspense, right? Let's use that for the suspense. Fires. Oh my God, where are these fires coming from? What kid is doing this? You know, that kind of a situation. Have kids at the camp, but only really go after, of course, the counselors, because it was the caretakers, if you will, that allowed the bullying to continue. And make it a thing where Jason was literally singled out. I mean, don't make it comical. Don't make it a caricature. But maybe he does look good. Maybe he just had like a cleft palate and lip. He doesn't have to be a full, I don't want to use the word mongoloid, but that's what they described him as back in 1980. Whether that's politically correct or not, I mean no disrespect to anyone with any physical deformities. You're all beautiful in your own way. It's about this right here. Not this right here, obviously. I still get some. If I can get some, Jason can get some. So Jason's pushed over. They can't find this kid. They're dredging the lake. Nothing. They're just going to consider him MIA, and he's dead. He's declared dead. There's news things. Moving on, the next year, the fires start happening. The water goes bad. Maybe not poisoned, but you know, oh, what the hell's with the water? The water's gross. Oh, you know. And then we build up to the actual slaughter. The murders. Maybe take a little cue from some of the other movies or whatever. Pay homage, but you know what? Don't go too over the top, but be creative with it. I mean, the whole thing with Jason is people make fun of it, and they're like, well, it was the same movie over and over again, and it was stupid. And they're 100% correct, but it wasn't about the movie. We weren't going to Friday the 13th for a story. Think of it like pornography. Think of it like that. Maybe there's like 3 guys out there that'll watch the movie and get into it. But most people are just watching the content, the meat and potatoes, the actual physical act within. And that's how I look at horror movies. It's kind of like a joke, too. You get the setup and the punchline. You know, you have the stupid story that gets you to wherever you got to go. And that's fine if you want to start feeling for the characters, because then you want to feel a sense of dread. But don't put anyone crazy in it. Go old school and make it so we don't know. We don't know who's going to survive. We don't know who the survivor is. Don't try to play any jokes or tricks, because that's been done to death. You know, Hitchcock and all that stuff. Shoot, even Scream. Even Wes Craven did it with Scream. But then we get to the murders. We find out it's the mom. And yeah, let's lop the head off. Let's just go right to it. Just make it a different movie. Tell the same story. Make it a different movie. She's gone. She's gone. And then, you know, you do your normal little wrap-up thing. No big jump at the end. No, set up for it. Get people going. Go to that white that they do. And then show a gentleman walking into a bedroom with a sandwich or something, you know? And he puts it down in front of this kid. And he says, Jason, there is work to do, bro. And he says, Father. And that's where you cut it. Boom, done. There's work to do, Jason. You don't even show the boy. You just show him walking in, show his face, and he's just like this guy with the long hair, real stringy, and almost like you would think, like, have you ever played Chaka Man? Is that how it was said? Chaka Man on the Genesis? Like that, but not so otherworldly. And Otis Driftwood without the caricature of Otis Driftwood, if you will. And he just walks in with the food, and he puts it down. And he says, Jason, there is work to be done. Now, my Jason is a teenager. He's not a little boy. He's 15, 16, maybe even 17. Maybe he's technically an adult, but because of his intellectual, challenges, but he's brooding. He's a little bit bigger than most people, but Jason doesn't have to be a monster. I hate that. The original Michael Myers was 5'9". He was my height. And then somehow these guys had to be monsters. I don't get it. I don't get it. They don't need to be big bulking things, They just have to have a kill drive. So the movie's over, you leave the theater, and everyone complains about it. But then the second one comes out, and now you have the man. He's got the thing over his head, the sack. Yeah, we're going sack Jason. And he starts doing his thing. But instead of it being at the camp or whatever, he's going after the people individually. He's still a human being, His father's probably helping him out. Go here. Go there. And then they all converge back at the camp. This is going to be your cliche horror story, They get back to the camp. We got to go after this guy. He's killing us all just like his mommy did, I guess. The beginning of that movie actually starts with showing what happened to Jason. He fell, went down the lake a little bit. He still couldn't swim that well, but he held on to something. And he ended up in some kind of like a drainage thing, and his father found him, took him home, and kept him away from everyone. And the whole reason he did that was because he figured this was a chance for Jason to stop getting picked on, basically. I mean, I'm just giving it the quick little, you know. Jason does his thing. He gets dispatched at the end by the final guy, girl, it thing, whatever. And the movie's over. And then you see Matthias, or whatever his name is, the father, don the mask. Somewhere in there, I guess you can get the hockey mask. I'm not going to lie. The hockey mask might be one of the most iconic, if not the most iconic part of the movie. Horror and Halloween in general. But I don't say we use it. I don't say we use it that much. We get to it near the end. And then the father dons the mask, and he's the killer for the third movie. He finishes the job that Jason couldn't finish, that his wife couldn't finish. He gets dispatched in the very end of the movie. There's a close-up of like a drawn in on a tombstone, a memorial stone, that just says Voorhees on the top. It says Mom on the left. I know it's your right. It says Mom on the left. Dad on the right, no names. And then Son in the middle. And then as it gets closer, you hear that iconic and then you can go anywhere you want from there. You can just say, you know, they're all spirit ghosts and stuff. But I honestly think, because the original movie was basically a family story set in a horrific scenario. It was a mom avenging the death of her poor child who was picked on. She had this child that had differences. And of course, kids are cruel. And those cruel kids ended up by accidentally killing the kid in their neglect, you know? And I say kids, the counselors. Most of the time they're what, 20? They're kids. They're fucking kids. I think that would work really well. I do know that my trilogy would be very divisive. But you gotta remember, it's coming from a fan. It's coming from a really big Friday the 13th fan. I may not adorn my house with every Friday the 13th fucking piece of memorabilia. But believe me when I tell you, the deep dive I go into some of these movies and the knowledge I have about them, and the people I've personally met and hung out with, I'm a super fan of Friday the 13th. I have Jason's mask on the back of my calf muscle, and it says Made in Hell. My very first internet purchase was a Friday the 13th t-shirt with the Part 4 mask with the buck knife going through it. And the back said that, Made in Hell. That's where I got that from. So that's my Friday the 13th trilogy. I don't know if you dig it. I don't know if you think it's garbage. And I don't give a shit. Because I think I want to see that. I want to see Mommy. I want to see Jason. And then I want to see the father. I want it to be a family thing. I want it to be an outcast thing. Jason was a victim, period. That's where you start with this movie. That's where you start with the original Friday the 13th. He may be the villain, but he was also the victim. Guys, thank you always so much for watching. I can't say enough. Again, happy 2025. Let's make this year amazing. I'm not saying new year, new me, or any of that garbage, but I got a lot of plans. Here, you know what? I want to show you something. A long time ago, we talked about this guitar. All I have to do is drill the holes for the pickguard screws and string it up, and I'll be playing this. I never thought in a million years. There's a lot of projects that your mind creates that you feel go above your, you know what I mean? And there were some things I did with this, and I really thought I was going to end up in that same pile that everything else does. I'm never going to finish that. I'm going to eventually get rid of it or throw it out. I'll be playing this today, and I am super excited, and I am grateful. I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for you guys. Again, wherever in the world you are, I hope you're doing well. Until next time, take care, creep it real, and bye-bye.